Greetings, fellow patriots. This presentation today is about Family Fun Night and map testing and what does it mean. So we're going to talk a little bit about how TJ uses map testing and what it can do for your child. First of all, we're going to talk about what is MAP. And MAP is actually a national test. It's called the Measure of Academic Progress. It's a computer-based test that we use for reading and math. And what we do is we test your child several times a year, but it tells us exactly where your child is in terms of learning the content, what they know, and then what they don't know, and where the gaps and misconceptions are. Here at TJ, we do test your child 3 times a year. We do fall testing, which occurs in September, and then winter testing, which occurs in January, and then spring testing that takes place in April. And we do this periodically just to see where your child is, if they're growing, what do they know, what do they not know, and this kind of helps drive the instruction in our classrooms. How we use MAP here at Thomas Jefferson is once we get your child's score throughout the year, we use that that information to place them in enrichment classes, so whether it's reading or math is the biggest need, and then they're placed in that class based on their individual needs. That way the teacher knows exactly what to focus on for your child and how to kind of help them move in the right direction for what they need. We also offer incentives when students grow because we celebrate, how many points they gain, whether it's 2 points, 10 points. So we use that to kind of set goals, and the teachers use it specifically to know what target for your child. Now, at this point in Family Fun Night, we were talking about it. The people who came, we actually gave them their child's individual scores, and we took a look at it. But since you guys don't have that, I would highly encourage you to ask your child their math scores. They should know it, or you can contact the teacher because they're well aware of them as well. Okay, now this is a chart looking at the scores and comparing them to the grade level in which they correspond to. So if you know your child's MAP score, you can kind of find it where they are in the beginning of the year if you're looking at a fall MAP testing, which occurred in September. For example, though, if you had a kid that scored like a 203 in reading, but you don't see it there in the yellow at the beginning of the year, you can scoot over to like the middle of the year and you see 203.6 for a 4th grade level. So what you're paying attention to is the mean scores, not necessarily the SD, which stands for standard deviation. But you can usually find your child's score somewhere in there and then the grade level that corresponds to that. Okay, so at this point, either parents are very concerned of the grade level or they're happy about the grade level. So what we talk about at this point is what can you do and how can we help? This is where we talk about Compass Learning. And Compass Learning is the computer program that goes right along with MAP. So what it is once your child takes the test in MAP, that information of what they know and what they don't know is sent to a program called Compass Learning at the Learning Odyssey. So what it is that is then tailored to exactly what your child needs, no matter what the grade level is per reading or math. So for example, if you have a child who's in the 6th grade and they're on an 8th grade level in math, well, I mean, it's going to be difficult for the 6th grade math teacher to teach 8th grade content because it's not, it's not where they're at. However, your child can log in and do a 20-minute lesson in the Learning Odyssey or the Compass Learning and get 8th grade content. So no matter if your child's above grade level, the same applies for below. So for example, if you have a 7th grader who's in a 3rd grade math level, okay, they can also log into Compass and learn the 3rd grade content that, again, their 7th grade teacher probably isn't going to be teaching in class. But to gain that content and that knowledge to fill in the holes and build the foundation for 7th grade math content. So this is what Compass Learning is. This is a website. It's called thelearningodyssey.com, and it shows the login screen for kiddos. And the username and password is the exact same username and password they have at JCPS for any time they log onto a computer or student portal. It's the same one. So your child knows this one. Don't let them fool you. What you got to remember though is when they go to the school right there above the login button, they've got to type in TJMS because that will link them to their backpack or their lessons. Now, also, when a kid logs in, this is an example of what one of the screens looks at, but there's two different ways and things that they can work on. One of them is in their backpack, and it's like their portfolio of their pathway. So, based on what the map test showed them or told them that your child needs at their grade level, that's kind of like in their backpack or what they're working on individually. And then there's another section on the login screen where the teacher can assign extra assignments that are based on what they're doing in class at that moment or that week or for that unit. So there's a couple different ways your child can work on the content, either what their pathway is and what they need or whatever grade level that is, and then what the teacher also can assign them. So this is a little bit about what Compass Learning can do for your child. The main point I want to drive in here is each lesson is about 20 minutes. If the content's really easy and your kid knows it, they could probably knock it out in about 10. Some of the difficult content can take up to 30 minutes to do one lesson. So it does help build on the skills. It's kind of like building the foundation for what they do need at their level. And if parents can kind of incorporate this at home as well, the significant point gains are really phenomenal if they do it with fidelity. Okay, so this is the MAP report that NWA sends out, and we'll be mailing this out to parents after the winter test. And it shows the chart of their score, their child's score in reading and math. That's the dark blue line. And then it compares it to the norm average, or like kids across the United States, and where their average scores are. So you can compare really where your kid is to where they are nationally. Now, one thing I want you to notice is down at the bottom, see where it says like F13 and W14. Now, this is an eighth grader who's been with us for all 3 years. So, as an incoming sixth grader, she took the test in math in the fall of 13 and scored around a 200. Then in winter, she went up. And then in spring, she made a huge jump, okay, as well. Now, if you'll notice what happens between spring and fall, okay, so you're looking at April to September, the summer months. Okay, and if you look between spring to fall in the 15, like a little bit to the right of the chart, I mean they drop. That's called the summer drop off. And what we know and what MAP knows and NWA knows is that in the summer months, our kids do very little reading and they do very little math. So if you guys can, incorporate this into having your kid work on it in the summer, even if it's for 20 minutes, one day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week would be awesome. They won't really experience that summer drop off and they'll continue to build their knowledge and see the gains that we see from fall to winter to spring, because they're going to be working with the content and be familiar with it. This is also the bottom part of the report that you'll get mailed to you probably in February. If you're an eighth grade parent, this is language usage, which we used to test back in 2013. It's more on language mechanics like capital letters and punctuation and things like that, but we don't necessarily focus on that as much anymore. We really try and hit and hammer home reading and math. So hopefully this clarifies, what MAP is and how we use Compass Learning here at TJ. And please come in and ask questions. Your teacher is very familiar with this. You can check out their data notebook where they record all of their goals that they're setting. And as we monitor and progress this and keep progress on it throughout the year. And again, please come in parent-teacher conferences, give us a call if you need anything, but hopefully you understand, what MAP is, how we use it, and how Compass Learning can help your child both here at school and at home. Thank you.